My name is Lily. I'm 17 and I'm in 11th grade, and I've been taking Latin for 5 years.
Awesome. And so what got you interested in taking Latin?
When I first came to WTMA, my mom really wanted me to start with a language early. I was in 7th grade. And when we were choosing, obviously Latin is the root of a ton of English words. And my mom thought that it would be really like a strong foundation because I wanted to continue with the classical education all the way through my senior year, which is what I'm doing. And I also just really like ancient Roman civilization and ancient history. And since Latin's kind of a direct tie into that, it worked out.
So a lot of students have a language requirement that they need to fulfill, maybe 2 years of a language or 3 years of a language for maybe getting into college or some program that they want to do. But you have taken Latin for 5 years, well beyond what you need for any sort of a requirement. So why have you continued beyond that basic requirement of taking Latin?
I really started to see in the advanced science courses that I'm taking, like chemistry, and this year I'm taking anatomy, that especially in sciences, Latin is everywhere. And so I'm really seeing like roots in like all my science classes and like all the vocabulary we're doing. And also I chose to take 5 years of a language instead of like 2 years and 2 years of 2 languages because I feel like I'm now comfortable with Latin. Like I don't have like a limited knowledge of one language and a limited knowledge of another. Obviously, there's still always stuff to learn, but I feel like I can kind of understand most Latin things now. Like I have an approach to it.
How does taking Latin fit with long-term goals that you might have for beyond high school, what you want to do after you finish high school, after you're no longer at WTMA?
For college, I don't know where I want to go to college, but I know that I want to double major in dance and some sort of science. And so even though I don't want to go down like the Latin route or the classics route specifically, I can already see that Latin helps so much in sciences that I know it's going to continue helping me as I go into those advanced science studies.
Thinking about our Latin class in particular, you've been in it for a long time, gotten very used to Latin. What is your favorite thing about what we do in class, how our classes run?
The Latin 4-5, obviously, Latin 4-5 is run a little differently to Latin 1-3. Like it's just we're reading the literature on its own, and I really like that. Even though this is kind of just like the whole premise of the class, I really like the daily lines because it kind of provides each student with some sort of responsibility and contribution to class. Because even though we don't necessarily have to like present them, it gives us like some sort of thing that we add to the class.
Over the course of 5 years, you have definitely developed lots of skills and abilities. You mentioned reading Latin in the original language. So what are some abilities, skills that you've developed at this point in Latin that you're particularly proud of?
Besides like being able to list all the endings on pronoun sheets and being able to decline all my, decline all my nouns and conjugate all my verbs, I think that just really being able to approach any like Latin sentence and have an approach to the translation, like you figure out the vocabulary and then you figure out the grammar things that are in it, and then you can use context clues. Like I think it's just kind of the process that I've developed to translating has become really fine-tuned. And then, I mean, only in these past 2 years have I really experienced this, but I love scansion. And I was so uncomfortable with poetry, like on the whole, before Latin 4-5, and because we go into scansion in like such a simplified way because it's in another language, it gave me confidence in like the English poetry I have to read too. So that was really nice.
Have you seen any other connections with what we do in Latin class and your other subjects? So that can be either skills that you developed or any sort of content. You already mentioned the science and the scansion, the poetry. Anything else that you've seen, any connections that you've made that are there?
Reading comprehension is obviously very different in Latin versus in English, but I think that because we have to slow it down so much that it's not just for poetry, it's also for like English too. Like it really makes you realize that you need to take each word and like just take reading at a slower pace, which is helpful for me. And then this isn't necessarily academic, but also like I got to see the Latin language when I went to Rome. And I was like, oh my gosh, this doesn't just exist on my computer. This is actually like a real life.
Right, real people. Pico said these things. What is the favorite text or Latin author that you've read in your Latin career, and why?
Really super recent, like we're reading him right now, but Catullus is one of my favorites just because of how funny and lighthearted it is. We read the story about the dinner party, and he was basically just saying, I'm broke and I need you to bring me dinner. And it's funny to see Romans in a lighthearted comedic context as opposed to being super like scholarly, historical, like very uptight people. And so it's just cool to see that they were actual human beings. And besides him, I'd say Virgil, because reading the Aeneid in Latin after reading it in English, it was interesting to see like the points that Virgil was like really harping on versus what maybe English authors would harp more on. So I guess in like the bigger historical context, it would be Virgil, and in like the smaller, just more fun, it would be Catullus.
What advice would you give to a student just starting to learn Latin? Latin 1, Latin 1A?
I'd say take time to like really make sure you understand the concepts before you like move on to the next one, because especially if you plan to take it long term, it's really important to have those like foundations of understanding how nouns decline, how verbs conjugate, how like all the cases of nouns. Like it's really important to just understand those basics, because then you'll be able to succeed more in the advanced classes. I also say take Latin club, because I remember in Latin 1, I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in this club with like all these super advanced kids, and they're going to know all these things that I don't know. But then you get in there and everybody's super welcoming of all levels, and it's like just a really chill class where you learn about culture. So I think that also helps with the community building, and I would highly recommend that people take that.
That's so good. Yes, it's been great to have you in Latin Club.